What's going on YouTube? The BowTie Fragrance Guy here, man. We talk about fragrances on this channel primarily. But I make it my business when I can to throw in some style tips and actually some grooming tips as well. So that way every day when you go outside, not only you're smelling your best, but you look your best as well. So if you're into that, make sure you hit subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications by hitting that bell icon as well. So anytime a new video is uploaded here on YouTube, you get notified. All right, guys, on today's video, we're going to be talking about some holy grail fragrances that I have in my collection. Now, to put context around that, what a holy grail fragrance is a fragrance that fits under or multiple of these particular categories. A, it's a fragrance that has been discontinued or hard to find. Obviously, when a fragrance becomes hard to find or discontinued, you're going to see a hike or an increase in the price of that fragrance. Therefore making it, when you finally obtain it, making it a fragrance that is considered a holy grail, something that's hard to find or discontinued. The second criteria is could potentially be just because of it's a very expensive fragrance. Most of us don't have the disposable income to buy super expensive stuff. Most of us don't. So when something is very expensive, and very expensive can be a relative term here, you finally save up enough money, then get enough courage to actually pull the trigger on a fragrance you've wanted for a long time, and the price has been one of the primary reasons you hadn't had a chance to get it yet, and you finally obtain it. That can also be considered a holy grail fragrance. Now, the last criteria here for a holy grail could just be a fragrance that is really highly sought after. Sometimes those fragrances are considered holy grails when they're highly sought after. Sometimes that contributes to the supply and demand of it, and when you finally get your hands on it as well, you consider it to be a holy grail because it's good. Obviously, that's the number one thing, it's good, and now you finally have it in your collection. So I have 10 fragrances that are considered to be holy grail. I've done a video like this before, so some of the previous ones I put in that category, obviously you won't see on this video. I will try to link that other holy grail video to this one so you can check out some fragrances I had in the first installment, but I have 10 additional fragrances that fit that category. So if you want to see what's on the list, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. It's go time, show time, flow time. Let's get it time. Watch the video, man.
The BowTie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's jump right into this video. I do want to say this really quickly as well, guys. As of late, I've been using the YouTube shopping option. So a lot of the fragrances I talk about, if you click on that little box down there that says products, most of these fragrances, if I can find them, I try to tag them on the video. So if you want to check them out, you can, and I try to look for the best price that I find on them. They FragranceNet is a part of YouTube shopping, a lot of other discounters, so Joma Shop. So I try to tag these products in the video if I'm able to. So check out the tag products link there if you want to check some of these fragrances out. So this first fragrance, man, I tried for the longest to get this. It was darn near impossible. Even had a plug in the fragrance community. He smells like Rome. Very acquainted with this brand, and had him reach out to some folks that he knew personally that works with the brand. They looked in the warehouse to see if they could even find a like a tester bottle of this, and they were unable. I was in a Facebook group. That's why it's good to be in some of these groups on Facebook for this particular brand, and a gentleman by the name of Daquan actually sold me this fragrance. Once again, sir, thank you for that. This fragrance is from the brand of BowTie Victorious, and this is called Mocus. Mocus. Man, this is so good. This is lavender, orris root, patchouli, caramel, and tonka. This is so good. I don't have anything in my collection that smells anything like Mocus, and that's one of the reasons that I love it. Now, Holy Grail, it's darn near impossible to find this fragrance unless you know someone that has it personally and is willing to sell this. They discontinued it for some reason. I don't know why. But honestly, I think this is one of my top 10 fragrances in my entire collection for me. It's earthy. The orris root here is not so much powdery, more that earthy quality that you're going to get from orris in this particular fragrance. And then when it starts to dry down, all of the sweet notes that would kind of hint at a gourmand fragrance, of course, the caramel, the tonka bean, and stuff like that. Patchouli, this fragrance is phenomenal, man. And again, I don't have anything in my collection that smells anything like this. And at this point, with me smelling as many fragrances as I've smelled and having as many fragrances in the collection that I have, that's really hard to come by. But this one seemed to accomplish that. So definitely a holy grail fragrance. I love this stuff, man. That's all I can say. From the brand of Bodil City Victorious, Mocus. And this actually completed the Zodiac collection for me. This was the last one that I needed to get. They're supposed to come out with one more at some point, I think Snake, from what I understand. But so far, this has completed the Zodiac collection for me from this brand, Mocus. The next fragrance comes from the Chanel Less Exclusive collection. And this fragrance is called 31 Rue Cambon. All right, and what you get with this fragrance right here, guys, is iris, rose, ylang ylang, and patchouli. This is, guys, this is so good. There's a lot of green notes here as well. I'm almost certain there's some cypress in this fragrance, but it's considered a chypre. Definitely unisex. Some people say this even leans a little bit feminine, but you know, to each his or her own. Not a fragrance that I wear as much, but when I want to be on my, you know what I'm saying, on my BS a little bit, this is something right here that I like to throw on, man, because it's so good with a suit, guys. I'm telling you. And this particular fragrance, this is the reason this is a holy grail. This is an EDT concentration. I think around the year of 2000, maybe 17, 18, somewhere in that time frame, Chanel went to an eau de parfum concentration of all of their exclusive fragrances. All right, they went to an EDP concentration. Now, a lot of people say that EDTs last longer, and I can kind of confirm that from what I've been able to experience. This is the only EDT concentration that I have, but it performed like a monster. You only need like 2 or 3 sprays of this stuff, and it's gonna last all day long. But again, guys, the neutralizer to a fragrance that may lean a little bit feminine, put on a suit. The most masculine presentation that a guy can have, and there you go. That's how it works. So, but this is definitely a holy grail because again, this EDT is really hard to find the EDTs now. So from the brand of Chanel, the Less Exclusive collection, this is 31 Rue Cambon, the Eau de Toilette concentration. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list is from the Dior exclusive collection, and this one is called Mitza. Dior La Collection Privé collection. This is coriander, cinnamon, honey, and amber. Man, I don't even have words for this, man. I talked about this maybe last week. I have a 250 ml bottle, and now I have this treasured, hard to find, almost impossible to find 4.2 ounce bottle of Mitza. I'm a fragrance, of course, lover of amber, and this is an amazing amber fragrance, man. This is an amazing amber fragrance. I'm so happy to have this 4.2 ounce bottle. If you do find this, you're only going to find it on places like eBay, and most people only have that huge bottle, because I've noticed what Dior does with this particular La Collection Privé collection. When they are going to phase the fragrance out, the first thing to go are the smaller bottles. So I think they have like a 1.35 ounce bottle, then the 4.2 ounce. A lot of times those go first, and then they'll only have like 250 ml left. So when people know that it's going to be discontinued, a lot of people start buying up what's left with the 250 ml. So that's why that's what you see most of the time when you go to look for this fragrance on the gray market. But again, I was fortunate to find a 4.2 ounce bottle for about what you would pay full retail prices for today for this same size from this collection. One of my favorite ambers in my entire collection. Definitely a holy grail for me, man. Mitza, Christian Dior. All right, guys, the next fragrance comes from the brand of GRAIL, and this is Tonka Imperial. Tonka Imperial from GRAIL. Of course, Tonka means tobacco, almond, and cedarwood are some of the main notes in this masterpiece. Guys, look at the bottle. I'm gonna show you some details on it. The side there, it has Tonka Imperial with the Guerlain emblem here. On the bottom, you see Guerlain inscripted there on the bottom of the bottle here, which is a nice touch. This is a Holy Grail. They do have this in the newer presentations. Like if you've seen when I did the review of of Tobacco Honey, and the newest patchouli fragrance that they have this particular fragrance in that particular presentation, but this is old school Tonka Imperial. Now there's another bottle that predates this one that had the little ball sprayer on that, pause, no diddy, all that stuff. But that one was the first installment. This was kind of like that second wave, but this is an old school bottle of Tonka Imperial. One of my favorite tonka bean fragrances, one of the best tonka bean fragrances on planet Earth. Glad to have this in my collection. Hard to find it in this presentation now, so if you can find it, do yourself a favor and check it out. Tonka Imperial. All right, guys, this next fragrance is from the brand of Tom Ford, the exclusive private blend collection. This is Amber Absolute. Amber Absolute. Of course, this is amber. This is incense. This is orbitum. Simply put, this is a smoky, incensey amber fragrance. And this particular size, this 3.4 ounce bottle, is impossible almost to find. Impossible. That's why it's a Holy Grail. They discontinued this for a while. It was a little bit easier to find the 1.7 ounce bottles, but this 3.4 ounce was a unicorn, and I was able to find it. Again, Facebook groups. And now they have re-released it in the decanter, where those go for $2,000. So I'm happy to have this in my collection, this 3.4 ounce, because my other bottles of Tom Ford private blends are this size. I kind of have a thing about it. So anyway, definitely a Holy Grail for me. A 3.4 ounce bottle of Tom Ford Amber Absolute. Good luck finding something like this. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list that is a Holy Grail for me is now my favorite vanilla fragrance in my entire collection, from the brand of YSL, the La Bestiaire de Parfums collection. This is Baby Cat. This is Baby Cat. And what you get with this one is vanilla, suede, black pepper, and saffron as some of the main notes of this. And again, at the end of the day, this is a vanilla fragrance. And this one is hard to find here in the US. Now, I have seen some reputable places, FragranceGuy.ca being one, that at least at the time that I looked, had a few bottles of this, but this pops up here and there. Most of the time when it does pop up places, it sells out really quickly. So not the easiest fragrance to come by. And of course that, along with the fact that it smells phenomenal, is my favorite now vanilla fragrance, puts it in the Holy Grail conversation for me. But this stuff is fantastic. A spicy, warm, vanilla, slightly leathery fragrance. Cannot go wrong with this stuff from the brand of YSL. If you can find it, I think it's worth the pickup, especially if you like vanilla. This is Baby Cat. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list comes from the brand of Rosia Parfums. This is Parfums de la Nuit number 2. Parfums de la Nuit number 2 from Rosia Parfums. What you get here is rum, coconut, benzoin, tonka bean. This stuff is absolutely fantastic. One of these sexiest fragrances in my collection. And this one was more of a price point thing. It retails for a little over $1,000, maybe $1,095. I didn't pay that, but I did pay around $650, $700 if I remember correctly for this. So that's a lot of money to spend on one fragrance. So it was something that I had my eye on it for a long time. And obviously, when you're going to invest that kind of money into a fragrance, it takes a lot of times some time, I would say, to get the courage to go ahead and pull the trigger on it. So it was on the wish list for a while. Found it for what I felt like based on the retail price. Found it for a price that I thought was reasonable. Went ahead and pulled the trigger. Definitely a Holy Grail for me. Absolutely love this fragrance. From the brand of Rosia Parfums, Parfums de la Nuit number 2. All right, guys, I want to end this list off with 2 discontinued gems. The first one comes from the brand of Bond number 9. This is New York Oud. New York Oud. This is Plum, Rose, Oud, and Patchouli. Man, when I put my nose to this, it takes me back, man. One of my favorite rose fragrances in my entire collection, definitely in my top 5. And that's really saying something because I have a lot of rose fragrances, but I love this stuff. It's a shame they discontinued it. Maybe Bond Number 9 will bring this back like they did in New Harlem. Or maybe they will bring it back under a different name, kind of like they did the New York Musk fragrance. They brought that back in the form of off-Broadway. I mean, those two fragrances have the exact same note breakdown. Anyway, however it may come back, I needed to come back because I love this stuff. I've ran through a 1.7 ounce bottle of this. This one is already down to here. So I kind of use it sparingly now because I have to have this in my collection. So from the brand of Bond Number 9, a holy grail now because of the discontinuation of it, New York Oud. And last but not least, guys, fragrance from the brand by Killian. This is called A Taste of Heaven. A Taste of Heaven. This fragrance has lavender, amber, oak moss, and patchouli. This smells so good, guys. This is just one of those fragrances you got to get your nose on. There's another fragrance that this is very similar to scent profile wise. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but both of them have green juice. I don't know if you can see this. The camera might not pick it up. Yep, it will. But this is green juice on the inside. I call it the Incredible Hulk juice. Just a very nice signature scent, gentlemanly fragrance that was discontinued by the brand of Killian, and this stuff is absolutely fantastic. This is from the brand of Killian, guys. If you can find this, it's definitely worth it because it's a great signature scent. This is called A Taste of Heaven. All right, guys, I almost forgot there is one more fragrance from the brand of Tom Ford, the private blend collection as well. This is Plum Japonais. Plum Japonais. This is cinnamon, plum, immortelle, amber, and incense. This is, man, when I tell you this fragrance is fantastic. There are a few fragrances out there now on the market that kind of put you in the mindset of this. I can think of one. I think it's called The King from BowTie Victorious. Plum and Cognac from Scents of Woods. Those two fragrances kind of hint at this. Scents of Woods fragrance, Plum and Cognac, to me is a little bit sweeter scent profile than this one, but this stuff is fantastic. This is probably, by most people's opinion and standards, probably the best plum fragrance ever created. And it is discontinued, and it is hard to find. If anybody has, I don't know if they ever even made this in 100 ml, but if anybody has 100 ml of this, hit me up. But anyway, from the brand of Tom Ford, definitely a holy grail now, Plum Japonais. But that is it, guys. That is my time. I hope you enjoyed this video today. What are some fragrances you have in your collection that you consider to be a holy grail? I would love to hear from you down in the comment section. Now, as always, I sincerely appreciate you guys' time and attention to these videos. I know you don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe. Please make sure you're sharing these videos out to some other folks that you think could use the information or find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren, on the BowTie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell fantastic. So until next time, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I will catch you on the flip side. Peace.